This is the example of the part that I want us to create, and I'll give you a good look at it before we start. But what I want to say about it is that the tutorial, the printout that shows how you go about creating this as one L shape and then another L shape, and then you're building things up from sketches inside the model, is one way of doing it. But actually I think a preferred way of doing it would be to think, how would you actually manufacture this piece? That you would have a single block of material and you'd remove material from that block. Also, although the exercise is getting you started on using circles to cut holes, there is actually a whole feature that you can use which might be a better way of creating this part. So what I want to do is, starting from scratch, I want to show you how I would go about creating this. So a new part, and you're ready to start creating. Looking at the drafting environment here, what I want to point out is that you've got a XY plane that you're drafting on. So you're actually looking from the top down towards what will be the origin of the part itself. That yellow square is the origin of the part. I know you're using Revit and you're using Inventor. It's the buttons on your mouse, the scroll bar is reversed. So in Inventor, think of, if you scroll back, you're pulling it towards you. If you scroll forward, you're zooming away. And then I'm ready to actually start creating the part. Now you notice that when I started, I'm actually in sketch mode, so I'm ready to start drafting. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm thinking that the block of material that I want is kind of a big rectangular block like that. If I were to put dimensions on it, I can make it 5 inches by 2.5, which is what it was in the first model that you saw. So just let me point out that the color blue means that constraints were applied when the rectangle was drawn. So because I drew this approximately horizontal and approximately vertical, it's got these constraints already on the model. You can go and you can pick a constraint and apply it. And I think what I want to show is that if I make a change in this, say by let me put dimensions in to show how I can put additional dimensional constraints on it. So there are geometric constraints there. I think it's let me just check. F6, F8 is showing the constraints that are on there. So F5 is looking on the sketch, F6 is the isometric view, and F8 was to toggle on. Okay, so I took a quick break to look at the actual part itself. Now the power of this is, you see, if I go back into the sketch that I used to create this, that value should have been 2.25. So I can make the change, drive my model, finish the changes, everything updates, and I'm good to go. So the next part of this would be, what about the feature where I cut material away from here? So again, choose the surface, create sketch, draw my sketch. Now this time the sketch is going to be constrained to the edges here, like this. Right? I know the dimension from here to here. I've forgotten what I called it, so I'm going to double click on it and I see a list, and I can go down and say, yeah, that was the value you called offset. There's me driven the part, finish the sketch. I want to extrude. I'm going to extrude this profile in the opposite direction, and it was 1.75. So I've got the value there, and my part is almost finished, right? So if I turn it to look at it, the last piece of this was to cut a hole on the in the dead center of here. So one way of doing this would be to take that surface and create a sketch. And the sketch I'm going to draw on here, so from the center of there to midpoint there. Now that I've got the sketch there, I'll say finish sketch. I can go and I can say create me a hole. I think it's from sketch. I think it's about a 1/2 inch diameter. It'll do. Again, I can change it anytime I want, so it really is not a critical thing. And what I want to do is say, did I not say 0.5? .5 inches. There it is on the point that I selected. Click to accept. Why 0.5 inches? Going through all the object. Not sure why. Let me just think a second. Why is it not accepting it? Oh, it is accepting. I don't know quite what I was doing there. So there's the finished part, and really it took next to no time, and it was really more a case of thinking about how would somebody make this in reality than oh, actually, I just noticed that there. Let me go back and change that. Extrusion is that the extrusion itself is to go all the way through. So I'll give that a length longer than the part. I could do it that way. I could say it's to go 4 inches or something like that, to drive it all the way through, and then there's my part finished and complete.